Okay, I will buy it.
They're so lovely.
Because they fly.
Flying cockroaches. What the fuck? Is this a horror movie? I didn't know this. Okay, I'm going home. Just kidding.
Buy a net.
I will buy that. Really? Why do they need to fly? They don't need to fly.
Do I look like a cockroach?
Yes, please tell me.
I don't know, it was totally a surprise also for me. Because I repeat, I'm not from Palermo, and first time that I born summer here, I saw something similar. I said, okay, what fucking yeah. Because in my town we don't have it. We have got a small and they're just outside. You will never find one,
Voglio podpisci
Here no.
But everything's already old, like, and it's just,
No, onion.
yeah.
Diti su Italia, lo succede?
Yeah, all the trash that go on.
Je non mi ricordo l'Italia.
Sewage. Oh,
Onion.
yes, sewage. Oh, what is it called? Yeah, that's it.
Ci sono stato.
So, first advice, close or fold that you have in your toilet. Like the one in the video.
Yeah.
Or the you book it.
Yeah.
Close it.
But they have a big,
favorite scotch.
we have a big,
By the
one.
way,
Yes.
In town, just in town.
Like, because when I was in the apartment, they say, okay, there are some cockroaches, and then we cleaned the apartment, and now I never found
I
them.
don't know what they're
Yeah, but
I
now
saw them.
Boy, are you listening to this?
it's the summer. It's the summer because it starts to be very warm and they start to
But I think like the worst in Romania was really
Okay,
like
so
this,
they
and working
say
in the
cockroach
street,
like
like
they come from the
Sì,
bathroom.
I just remember my friend that said,
In our apartment
Yeah.
already. No, where?
The little black.
black or like some red,
No, black.
maroon, brown.
No, I saw some black.
that is just amazing.
No, like this.
But let's start. You just have to close all the wood that you have in your bathroom, also in the kitchen.
And
Our kitchen we
Close-
had
every
Oh.
Close all the food.
yeah,
The food that you have in the kitchen.
like open.
okay, seriously, I'm gonna get some boxes.
Close and put the net on the window.
But you can also.
Because they fly, the big ones, so.
Not pepper.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Flying cockroach. Do you want to see it?
Cockroach,
Casi.
cucaracha.
Cucaracha. Cucaracha.
Scartaggi, latte, incubo,
Imo del mio. What? Imo del Macedonia.
incubo.
Imo.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
Or maybe not because it's fucking cold in your country. You die.
and they fly. It's like
Yeah,
like
they
these
fly,
ones.
yeah.
Yeah, but these ones are really small. They're not a problem.
These
Do
ones
they
are-
start now? When?
I also see.
See,
Na to possiamo chiedere.
they start now and the very big period will be summer to this one. This one. And the city is
How big are
full.
they?
They can be like this, but they can be like this. So,
Big enough. Big enough.
best.
Oh, but they're not.
Andiamo a vedere, ho detto veniamo, io avevo box.
Dai, ne va a tirare.
But
Dai,
did
ho messo
people know we're
tutti
gonna
la
visit the office today? Like,
No, queste
But you need to do something.
yeah, I will.
I remember the first year here was for me terrible. I never used it, open shoes in summer in Palermo.
I'm not gonna have my window open unless I'm home.
Because I am
And
very,
it's-
not scared, scared.
Yeah, I don't want to wake up and have a cockroach in my window.
But
I remember
Already
I
happened
had one
once.
like stuck in my night in the living room. Like I could see it over there. No,
I remember.
what about the one we have, like, you know, the window we have with,
Yes.
can they help?
I'll find
Yes,
this.
yes,
Just, it's better to put on it.
A sciocco sono le pattine.
Chips.
I will also buy a net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bought last year, it was like €3 a little, and I closed the door to the window because it's very big. You can cut it, and it's just like
Like stick here.
yeah. No, it's very also survival. Ma cominciamo alle 10 o alle 10 e mezza? Just 1 hour late.
I mean, again, we're gonna finish until 1. So it's gonna be less lucky.
But where is the lunch?
Osteria. Is it Osteria? Let me check. But who is Valeria?
Valeria is
it's,
coming on tomorrow.
Okay, because we've been writing with her.
Yeah, no. I just saw that.
Osteria.
One day we go to Motivati and I'm really happy to go there.
Okay, the Maltese were late 10 minutes. That's why.
And was at 10:30 or 10?
10. But 10 they came down to the lobby of Maltese, so that's why they were late.
Ah,
The group.
everybody waited for
But at least everybody knows. Yeah.
What are you doing? Check now?
The lunch.
Lunch. So lunch is at Francetta, La Laterina, 22.
Where's this?
Where is
We're gonna find
There is
out.
one, I think in Maggiore, and there is one close to Santana.
Now
I
understand.
don't know in which one exactly, which Francetta. Francetta, there is one Rio Bistro, and then there is Francetta. Only Francetta is like 3 minutes walk from here.
Francesco or Fresca?
Fresca.
Francetta.
Okay.
There is,
I think it's not the your.
Rio Bistro.
Lavo Chacha top.
È meglio di quello che io
Yes, yes, I'm hearing people talking. Should we wait them like the groom and the bride? Congratulations.
Yeah. Welcome.
Welcome.
Now we'll play the welcome song. Are we in the right? Yeah. What are you recording right now?
I can send this to my friend. Watch my screen. I want to send this.
How to find this thing?
It's on our Sfera YouTube channel. As soon as they go Sfera Macedonia on YouTube, they can also subscribe. I'm listening to Kafa's channel. So Sfera Macedonia YouTube channel.
Good morning. She's not online. She would be the only one to check it. She's not there.
Katia, imaš adres na tam, Igori? Giovanni, ai, bravo.
Buon dia. Only 40 minutes.
Hello. Good morning. Fine.
How are you?
Mi toccare?
Scuola devo stare su casa.
Have a seat, please enjoy it. You can take some live or so guys, you can have some coffee or something if you want, and you start. Or if you don't want coffee, you start immediately.
I need a nappy.
Download the file. But it can like just part of the setting cookies, right? Yeah. I just I'll have it clarified. No,
Yeah, better than sometimes. It's fine. Just come on, I want it yesterday. But all that stuff.
Wasn't here. Was that for a person?
to be honest, it was me actually. Nabila was already.
I was the last one to say.
But you're the one who's gonna take the lead for the team.
You can suggest she will be selected.
Until what time? Until 17.
She's very quiet. We went to the hospital. The biggest she's very soft, relaxed. Oh, I wish I just had a baby. She started to be nervous again. I think also first video of the family it's the first. It's also man. Like maybe a she's taking you
Yes, please. Can I have a orange and orange?
And what do you when you want to talk to it's okay. Okay, just take our if you are it's not. There is another option. It's totally different, but if you have the car, you can fix it. Yeah. Or I don't know if you are very trained.
Well, we can make it, yeah, just more the water.
No. So think of
It's fine.
I think it
Can break.
Yeah.
Just leave it, just make it from
Yeah.
the Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if you
If you don't have the thing that you boil the water.
You don't have the kettle.
Yeah.
It's just
And now, like,
know
actually,
we are
usually
doing
it's not this one that makes the body go, but now it says like.
Don't worry, you can have just the normal.
I can make it like right now. I
was at this and we are in market.
So thanks for the water.
This is the only part.
You did good.
Yeah. Keep up. That is not, I don't know. That's like, I think Thursday or
I like this creativity. If you need a hand,
I have before this, I bought one.
you can join for a secret.
It was middle size. It was not
Thank you.
less bigger than not too much. Like this. But I must be. This corner is not fitting fine because another size, not standard size. This is bigger.
L'unica fortuna essendo un posto che non ho voglia di sostenere, mi sono veramente specializzato a fermare. Però appunto non vorrei sì, però anche per me sono thanks for the coffee. Ciao. Yes,
Because we can have breakfast. You want to share
No, no,
The social media manager.
Wow, people do really fantastic.
You got some magic.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm very glad to see you in here, all of us, after 40 minutes being late with our program. But not to forget, we are in Sicily, and things are getting slower in here. So that is the explanation why we're late. Slowly, we're going to start with it.
cultural.
It's cultural.
Cultural, yeah.
Yes, we cannot go against the culture.
Yeah.
So, I'm really happy to see all of the partners here, all the countries, and all these people around us. I'm also glad that we're gonna meet and share a lot of things here for the next 4 days. And I hope we're gonna enjoy the weather. Hopefully sun is coming through these clouds. And then we're gonna have a nice tour around the city, some good people to meet, good places to visit. And then we're gonna have time also to talk and to discuss more about the project. My name is Milče, and I'm coming from Macedonia, from Sfera Macedonia, the organization, who are the applicant of this project. So I would just introduce our hosts in here, in Italy, to tell us something more about the place, where are we here. And then we're gonna go around and introduce all of us, and then start. So, Marco?
Welcome everybody. I'm Marco and representing the project Reactor Rio, the UIC organization. Very proud to present you this place. This place is called Stato Prado. A possible translation can be wild state of mind. We decided to create this space to combine our working life with the real life. Because we used to spend too much hours in front of the laptop, and we don't want to stress us so much. So we were thinking about a possible combination in combine writing and realize project in the same time, and to have a good environment where to stay, and then creating new ideas and hosting a new organization here at Local Lidl. On the top, we have our office. We create this place with another organization called Magweb. They work on social communication field. And we are inside a national networking cultural organization called the Arch.
Thank you very much, Marco. And our second host in here, Loredana.
Hi, I'm Loredana. I represent here Centro Pia La Torre. It's a study and research center. It's dedicated to Pio La Torre, that's the one politician who was killed by mafia. So because of the story and the work of Pio La Torre, tradition, the Centro Pia La Torre is very keen on research also in juridical math subject, but also social math subject. So the study, the reason why and how the mafia can stop the development of some territories. So it's the approach is it's not only it's a social approach also, and we are glad to share the next day with you and to find out with you the work of the group.
Thank you very much. We can continue from my left side, starting to introduce ourselves. And so we're gonna be all these 4 days together.
My name is Brigitte, and I'm so sorry, my English is bad, and so I speak in German, and somewhere
You come with a translator. Huh?
Ja. Also, ich bin die Brigitte. Ich komme aus Deutschland von dem Verein Kontakte für Europa. Ich war bis Februar, habe ich das Finanzmanagement gemacht und jetzt arbeite ich als Freiwillige im Projekt mit.
So I can actually introduce the whole group, starting with Brigitte. Brigitte, or we represent Contacts for Europe from Germany. Brigitte was until February the financial officer of our association. Then she retired. Then Susanne took over her job, and this is Heidrun, and they are the 3 of the 4 volunteers in the project. I thought it might be reasonable to bring them to get an idea of our project. And I myself, I'm the chairwoman of the association, and we just turned 20 this year, so we have been working in the field of European projects for 20 years. Maybe later on I can say something.
So what's your name?
Isabel.
Hi all, I'm Bojan. I'm from Macedonia, but I'm doing an EVS here in Palermo with Acario, and my scenic organization is Sfera, so yeah.
We are the symbol of international cooperation.
Yeah, sounds great.
I don't know from which organization am I.
So you're done?
Yeah.
So hello everybody, my name is Marigdan, you can call me Mario, and I'm from Albania. I actually doing my master's in finance and accounting last year, coming from Beyond Barriers, the Sending organization, and yeah, it's a good feeling being among you here.
My turn now. Okay, hello everybody, my name is Katerina. I represent Bulgaria Group. I'm a student in my second year of bachelor. I'm studying environmental engineering. And it's my first experience with Beyond Barriers. And here in Palermo to have fun and learn a lot of things.
Hi everybody, my name is David. I'm really happy to be here. We came here from the organization Beyond Barriers, and I hope I have a good time with all of you and to know everybody from here. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Aurel. I come from Albania. I don't drink alcohol since 8 hours. Kidding. I work in the PR and communication field. I work as a journalist from 14 years now, and I represent Beyond Barriers Albania. Very good to be here.
Hello everyone, my name is Mende. I'm coming from Sfera Macedonia, Organization for Sustainable Development. I'm working over 5 years there, so I'm a member of the team. So as well, I'm a vice president. So we are working in many fields, but main purpose in our organization is to increase the young people. Our target group is young people from 16 to 29 to increase awareness about ecological environment.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shahal Omlik. I'm originally from Sudan. I was 8 years old when I moved to the Netherlands, so I grew up in the Netherlands. And I was 6 months in Malta. I moved the Maltese team, and I studied media management. So I've been working in the Netherlands and also in Malta with different organizations.
Okay. Hello everyone, my name is Nabila. I'm originally half Libyan, half Sri Lankan. But I've been living in Malta for about 5 years, and I'm doing my master's in international business. And I'm with CCIF and
Hello, I'm Sonia. I'm from France, but I'm doing my internship here in Acario. So I don't know what else to say. I'm doing my master right now, and I'm finishing with my internship, just writing my thesis.
Hi everyone, I'm Nahla. I represent Malta. But I'm originally from Libya, and I have been living in Malta for like 9 years. I work in accounts, and also I'm a volunteer with Alex's organization, the CIF.
Good. I'm Alec.
think you see how diverse Malta is. We seem to be taking over Malta.
Yeah.
I'm Zimbabwean, British, living in Malta. I've been in Malta for 11 years, and the founder of CCIF, and we work on anti-human trafficking, so basically preventative awareness, advocacy, training, education, and also restoration of victims. It's good to work with most of you guys here. You and him, so it's I'm the naughty one. So keep your eyes open.
Hi everyone, I'm Katrina. I'm working together with Milcho and then the Mastoria, and they said everything about the organization, so I will just.
Yeah, the same. I'm Melania. I work with Marco. I'm now involved in human rights organization, and we will say other stuff after this presentation.
Okay, my name is Anna. I'm from Norway, but I'm also doing my EBS here. I've been here since October. Before I came here, I studied social work in Norway. So, that's it, I think. Yeah, excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Joanna, and I work for Sfera Macedonia as social media.
You don't have to talk.
You have to be careful.
We just have to make a good selfie.
Well, if we look around, we don't have just 5 countries as the project itself, but we have a lot of countries. We are so diverse in here. I'm glad that we have so different cultures, but as EU is joining us, and the name of the project is Europe for All. It's really a big family that is joining many cultures, many customs, many traditions in one journey. Too bad for the British on my right side. Coming Maltese, probably. We're going to see what will happen. Thank you for the short presentation from everyone. Because from the kickoff, we are just 3 or 4 persons here. We're going to do a short presentation about the project. What is the project about? Because there are a lot of new faces, and for sure you want to hear first what's the project about, and then we're going to start by watching the presentation. So I would like Captain together with me, we're going to say a couple of things, some practical and technical details about the project. So yeah.
Yeah, I can just start to give you some intro on how we wrote the project and why we decided on this topic, because as Mende said that we are an environmental organization, but also we deal with a lot of different issues and especially hot topics, as it's this one, the European Union, and since Brexit started, it's been rough time for the European Union. Statistics say that people are starting to lose faith in the European Union, and the people who go out to vote are starting to be lower and lower. So this is why we decided to do this project, because as a candidate country for European Union for almost 10 years now, the whole topic of the European Union is really important for us as a country. So this is why we decided to take these partners, like to have Macedonia, to have Albania as a partner, which are non-EU countries, and to have the rest, which are European Union countries. And that's why the main objective of this project is to see which are the benefits of the European Union. Why do we want to go in the European Union? So for the countries who are not there, why would we want to go there? For the countries who are already in the European Union, to tell us what is the good thing, what is the bad thing. So this is why we have the research, we have the voluntary activities. And we also want to see how is the electoral process going in each of the countries, which are going to be presented in the reports later on. And I think that also one of the main points of this project is also to engage youngsters in this whole democratic process, to promote the European Union values to the youngsters, to reach them and to motivate them to go out to vote and to use their right to vote. So this is, in general, the main objective of the project. And I will just mention the main activities which the first main activity was the kickoff meeting, which we had in Tirana, in Albania, which already happened. We had representatives from almost every country. Yeah, but it's still good. And now each country started already doing the voluntary activity, which is engaging 5 volunteers from each country, doing 100 working hours during 7 months. And they should organize workshops, debates about the benefits of the European Union, pros and cons, and so on. Then now we are at the other point. We do the study visit in Italy, where we are going to present another of the main activities, which was the voluntary activity and everything how it's going. Then we will have the research on the problem of voting turnout, the low active democratic participation in the citizens of the European Union. And then afterwards, we are having the final discussion event. This is happening in Malta. Dates are still to be announced, but it's going to be end of September, beginning of October, something like this. And then we will have a final conference in North Macedonia. This is in general what the project is, what it is about. You
I will
can
mention
share some technical
other
things.
During the part of the voluntary activity, which is ongoing now, we have a survey that it's online and being translated not on Italian only because the organization has to be also in Italian. So there is also an option if you want to have it in another language, for example, German, depends on the target group that you can reach. But during these 7 months, we need to have a survey done about information. Are the people informed about the European Union? How much do they know? And yes, what kind of information you know, if you write about it, then you can have one short report about the views of the people in those countries, in the non-EU countries. And during the research, it's going to be up to the partners to decide how people do it. Either they want to do another survey, or they can just find some professor or some researcher who will do the research on the voting turnout in their countries. And then we're going to join the one and make a full report that is going to be presented on the conference that will happen next year in 2019. But more practical, the project started in November 2018 and it's finishing in March 2020. So it's kind of getting 3 fiscal years from 2018 to 2020. We are, let's say, in 8 months of the project or almost in the middle, where we started some of the activities, but in the next period it's going to be busier and having also the panel discussion. And for sure, we're going to get with them more information about what's happened with the voting during 23rd of May for the EU elections in 2019 in the European Union, because we're going to have a lot of statistics until that time for the previous years, but for this year also how was the turnout and what's happened. Actually, there was a lot of surprises around after the voting. So I hope it's going to be interesting for our target group and for all partners to find out, not just from the statistics, but directly for people involved in the whole process. But yes, those are the main activities and some information about the project for the people, new people who are heard the first time. And they can always check with the organization if they need more information, or they can come to us and we're going to share if something more if they want to know about the application or about anything else which is relevant. In the meantime, at the door close to the bar, we put a corner with some flyers of our organization. If you want to know more about us, also you can Google us, or you can get a flyer from over there and read more about our organization. But if not, just Google, it's fine. You just write the names of any organization you want to find out. For sure, you can find website, Facebook, Instagram, social media where you can get information. Something very important about the promotion. Well, we are already having Giovanna who is taking pictures, and we're going to share afterwards with you for sure. And also we do a post on our Instagram that you can find your organization. And we are going live on YouTube for that we can send you a link. Your friends can watch it afterwards. It's going to be recorded, so each of the meetings are being recorded, so we can have it program, and as we wrote in the application that we're going to. Yeah, that's from my side. We can go through the program. This is what the plan for this day. Okay. Okay. So this is our program, and the 1st of June was our arrival day. We didn't have anything planned. We had just dinner. I hope people got also party afterwards, or some of the rest. Depends what kind of option did you choose for the first arrival day. And then we're starting day 1, which is 2nd of June, which is a holiday.
Yeah,
And we know what kind of holiday?
holiday.
Madonna, what kind of
Festa della Repubblica, it's Republic
it's Republic
holiday.
Yeah. So it's a holiday, we didn't know exactly.
It's also Sunday, it's both.
It's Sunday, so it's easy day, that's why we thought it's even easier today. Not many activities, and that's why we made a change in the first day with the last. In the morning, we have the welcome session and presentation of the project progress from each partner that we're going to start now and see how we are going. Then we're going to have a short coffee break, even we took a coffee at the beginning, but we're going to do another because of smokers. We're going to have a lot of smoking economic coffee, for sure. Yeah. And we really need to have a good coffee.
Because it's only.
Yes, and because it's holidays, it's going to be double espresso. And then we have a presentation of each country on elections pronounced statistics in the countries. So this is from your statistic that you found out in the turnouts in your country from the previous elections, like a couple of years back. And we're going to have question and answer time around us if you would like to know more or you are aware. Then we're going to have lunch, not in this restaurant. We changed them last day. Yes, last day was changed because of the locations. And in the afternoon, we're going to have some volunteer from Centro EU4ALL that is coming to make sightseeing to the Palermo. So interested people who want to see around and hear some stories and learn some historical moments and dates maybe. And we're going to have time to visit together with the volunteers around the center and maybe more. That depends on how, yes.
If someone wants to move also outside the center, like for example, go to the beach or some to close village around Palermo, like Monreale, not sure maybe because it's a bit far.
Yes.
Feel free to ask us information about bus timing. We can give all the suggestions.
But buses are normal today and it's holiday? No.
They're never all normal.
At the weekend,
Define normal.
So sharing a taxi from here to Mondello will be so expensive, just in case.
Great. So, yes, after lunch we're going to have time to take the water. And about tomorrow, day 2.
Tomorrow it's a complicated day because we are in the Assemblea Siciliana, the Parliament, Sicilian Parliament, and because it's we were lucky, there is also the President of our Republic visit. So we are allowed the same to come in the building, historical building, but we are going to get in the early morning. Then we are going to stay in the fine area. We can move. It's the area of in Sicily that we have the Antimafia Commission, that is a parliamentary group commission formed by different MP, and we are in that area. And we have an interesting introduction from Professor Verde, who is a constitutional professor, constitutional law professor, and we have also the presence of consultant of the Antimafia Commission, Mrs. Loverde, that is the consultant who supports the Commission for European subjects.
So what time do we need to be there?
Okay, let's say Okay, we are going to wait a little bit because we need to be there, but also about them. So 9 o'clock is good, and within the parliamentary assembly have two entrances. The entrance in Piazza Indipendenza. So we can have a meeting somewhere. Dove ci possiamo andare?
Yes, at least the cathedral. So yes, we're gonna
Yes,
walk this
cathedral.
around 15 to 20 minutes.
Cathedral at
8:45.
Or we can wait not the cathedral, opposite of the
Where is
cathedral.
the door?
where- Yeah, the gate.
Yes.
after the gate,
After the gate on the left. Yes.
Because we need to go after the gate.
Yes, yes,
It's
yes,
like
on the left.
10 minutes
Voi
walk.
da dove partite?
Noi siamo tutti scappaiati.
Siete
Però
scappati.
c'è
Io posso
poi
raccontarti alla cattedrale.
Ok. Entriamo da Piazza Indipendenza, sorry for l'Italia. Entriamo da Piazza Indipendenza, c'è l'entrata diciamo per quella turistica normalmente.
Sì.
L'approccio è lì, ci vediamo lì. Sarà tutto molto lento, but you need to go because they are to the right, because it's like a strange thing, really strange, but it's okay.
we need ID card.
You bring your ID card and passport. I don't think we need because they want only we already send the name, but
Just in case.
just in case, bring and that's it.
Okay, so we
And then at the end, sorry, at the end of the after 12:30, we're going to have, after the President of the Republic is gone, we are going to have the visit of the building. It's like a Palazzo Reale, they call it, because it was so after.
So we can agree on what time we're gonna wait in the lobby. Also tomorrow, if it's around 20 minutes walking, we can put 20 minutes walking, and we need to be 9:15
Yeah.
to the gate, let's say.
If you stay in the time, you can have everything. But really,
8:20 we can meet at the
Just
lobby,
noise schools.
but 8:20 sharp.
it's
If
not,
someone is late,
you need
we go.
20 real minutes.
Yeah.
It's not 20 minutes, it's really 20 minutes.
Maybe more.
we are not.
Yeah.
Because
It's kind of
we are
fast you are.
European. We have to have.
Okay.
You need to be louder on that. If anyone is late, we go.
Yes, yes, if anyone is late, we go.
And this is the same for us. If anyone is late, we go.
Yes, yes.
Because it's not
Sono
about
buceria, scusate.
us.
Yeah.
Better tomorrow.
Fortunately, it's closed.
So you have breakfast early morning, the hotel from 7, and then 8:20 we meet and we go.
It's the only day that we need.
Yes.
And be patient because there will be moments that we stay waiting like
Some
the
big
only way to
water.
get in.
Bring sugar.
Bring sugar.
Is there some dress code?
Not really dressing up, that's an official palace. I don't.
I mean,
Dress code, not
No
sure.
shorts.
No shorts,
Yeah.
yes.
It's a place that people work, normally work in a very,
Just to mention.
I didn't call dress code, but it's not,
Yes. And then we're gonna have lunch afterwards.
lunch,
Yes. Lunch, not in this restaurant.
multi-volti.
Yes, it's confirmed.
Yeah,
What the coffee is.
it's nice, but you enjoy, you are going to enjoy multi-volti.
It's also close.
And
Yeah.
clothes.
Yeah, just 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
To
me, it's fine.
Google it says 8, so let's
Very
not
good,
feel
but-
8. Let's agree on that.
Fine.
And so yeah, today is full day as we see. After we come back here again. So this is Palermo. This is a place that we're coming back, and then we're gonna have some workshop with Marco, and of course coffee break, and then dinner. Maybe it's not this restaurant. We have another this restaurant, but yes, afterwards we can rest, or let's see how it's gonna be, and because it's Monday. I don't know how it's started here. And then day 3, 4th of June, it's our last day. It's not a long study visit. It's in the morning. We're gonna talk about the importance of energy in the promoting of active citizenship. and what the young people are doing, so the volunteers, what the volunteers are doing in this moment in the volunteer activity. Then we're going to have a discussion about the next step of the project, and then we can agree on the dates in Malta. So we need to think with the boss from Malta to arrange some dates which are suitable for almost all partners, or all partners. That's the best idea. To find exact dates, to inform how many participants, and to start looking from even now, because there are not many months, there are around 3 months. And we are all busy with the organization, and we have a lot of projects, so it's good to arrange it from now, even if it's after 4 months. Lunch, of course, and then we have to have a visit in an NGO. That,
Centro Violatore, and the speaker in that case will be a student who represent an association of who's working on European matters. So it's we change the speakers.
Okay.
Less formal, so we enjoy a little bit.
Yes.
An open discussion.
Yes.
So I think it's
and if there is a possibility to have the visit in the morning, that's good.
absolutely yes. There's no. I was offering you also to. I can ask to change. Yeah.
If we can change this to the morning, because I heard people want to go to the beach and have some free time. So
And also it's a good position, the Centro Violatore, because it's very close to the big
big
bus stop. So it's I
There's,
think it's very useful. So
yes, so if we
from the hotel you need at least, because you need to take Centro the bus, and arrive at the end of the train, and then it's like 10 minutes walking. It's close.
Okay.
No?
Five.
Five.
outside the center I used to drive, so I don't have the exactly
exactly time.
It's walking from the bus station.
You take 40 minutes.
Yes, so if this is going up, everyone will be going to be happy, because we're going to have.
I ask tomorrow morning.
Yes, there is an option of having in here free time or beach time for those. Yes, for those who want to go to the beach, probably many people. And I saw that this day before it's going to be really warm, like 26 plus.
And then we have this one in the afternoon. The other meeting are in the afternoon. We switch. What do we do?
If
On the
both of
phone.
this we
Sorry.
can switch.
Huh?
Yeah, if we can switch both of them in the morning. Because
Okay, both of them in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay. My main problem is not for the play, that I'm sure that there is no problem for but for the young but I'm called.
in case we do that. Or in case he cannot, then we move the morning session stuff, and then we have the morning. Yes. So as soon as we get some free time, we're gonna use it maybe girls for shopping, maybe boys for shopping.
The weather is nice, really. Messages are going to enjoy them. It's very nice. Not much people.
The forecast is saying 26, which is.
I know you're from Malta, you don't mind, okay. From Malta.
Yes, we do mind. People who have rain, the less.
Except for my tea.
we can go to the outlet and enjoy our food.
Yeah.
Macedonia and Albania have had the worst rain.
No, we
So-
do.
Also,
Just
it's
two
also
degrees.
for our yeah.
Also amazing, but it's
As Marco proposed, going to Monreal is also a very good option.
Yeah.
Don't want to go to the beach, but if you want to go a bit up and have a wonderful view of Palermo and see and visit some historical church, a good story. Yes, it is cool. But if you want to just go somewhere around, then it's very short bus ride, and it's very nice. I like it. And that's it. We have departure, which is on 5th of June. Some morning flights. All of us, we have early flights actually.
No, we have a midnight
Oh,
flight.
you have, yes.
Midnight.
So you have a
so
again, it's my fault.
It's your fault, but I hate
I was booking the tickets for three teams. And first of all, I sent them confirmations. I sent them a screenshot. Is it this flight okay? Alex said, okay. So
there's no option, not you.
I have proof. I have proof.
Well, actually, I'm happy that it's a late night and direct flight, then.
Yeah.
40 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's okay, it's time for me.
Direct flight is good.
They forgive me. Yes. Any question regarding the program? Any doubts? Any ideas? Any changes? You want to change something? It's too much work. Let's do this. Or we have a lot of free time. Let's work more. No? Okay.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Just logistically,
Yes.
no, about the lunch, because it was rent in the center, we think it's better to move close to the border.
When we decide how to organize best, yes, because yes, no, in every case, it's best to move the place, the restaurant near Centro Piratore, because it's in the morning, we need.
Let's see tomorrow when we have a confirmation about the change.
Sure.
And
But I think that it's a good idea in both cases.
Yes.
Because if we have the morning, it's better to arrive to have lunch close, because
yeah, of course.
we have to move and then
Because
in both cases, yes, in both cases, I think it's a good idea.
or a pocket lunch.
We can,
Unless you have a packed lunch.
Yeah, or some restaurant near Central.
Yeah.
It's also a good idea. Okay, and logistical also for tonight. We're gonna need the location of the restaurant. We're gonna see exactly. Maybe this is not the restaurant.
Mr. Rosa, okay.
We're gonna check on
Yeah, that's
maybe
and
Valerio
maybe
is.
it's like
1 kilometer from here.
no, from here, but it's from the hotel. You're going to move from the hotel, no? So it's like to speak behind. It's like really 5 minutes.
That was the reason that
Yeah.
probably after the setting here, but you go to the hotel.
It's
Not really 5 minutes, like the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Now it's real
So
5
if
minutes.
it's really 5 minutes, then
Might
it's
be more
like
slow.
just 10, maybe more. It's real.
Okay, just here is the new restaurant. They launches in Chete. And so it's not by this. And then tonight dinner is at Palermo. So I don't know where is that.
Here it is on the last day lunch. It's Palermo.
So
It's open only for dinners.
It's only open for dinners.
Yes.
Ranchos.
So?
Palermo is only open for dinner.
Okay, so Palermo is for dinner. We need the location because after the study tour, or depends how long it's gonna be, or if somebody want to go to a different place, we need to have the location. So each we just met at the restaurant directly. We don't go to the hotel or we don't wait to go.
Yeah, it's just no, it's in Piazza Medina. So the big square size, it's very easy to reach.
Piazza Medina was which one?
Big one.
Corso Vittorio Emanuele?
Okay.
To the sea?
Oh, wow, that's a good place.
And if you Google it, you can get the.
Okay, but we Google some
Yes. Just to have the location and all of us at 7. 7 we need to be over there. So after everybody is going to be prepared. And today lunch it's at 1 o'clock. So 13. So that's in 1 hour and a half. Okay. If we have more questions during time, we can be interrupted. We can continue with, let's say, not the presentation, not typical, but some discussion about each partner. Let's say, presentation from the progress. what have you done in this period? Have you started the volunteer activity? Did you find the volunteers? Did they start volunteering? Did they make some debates and workshops? Did they visit maybe some schools, youth centers, or any kind of organization? Or they start thinking about it? And so we mentioned 7 months, it's a long period, I think. Did we start getting the survey also? I think then the colleagues have already known how many surveys we got on online. I have also some news from Albania that they have offline surveys that they need to input inside the survey system, and they're ready. They have around 300, so which is very good news. But yes, let's talk country by country and share those information. So I'm going to go like freely who want to start.
Since I was working with such service, and now I realized that coming from Sphere Macedonia, actually once I got to the organization, they told me about this, and it was good, like raising awareness actually about how much you know about European Union. And yeah, actually we got many of such surveys, and we went to universities. Some friends of mine are working as lecturers, and like they took some time to present those surveys to the youngsters. How much do they know about EU? Like how many member states are there? When was EU founded? And like as well about voting. And I find it quite interesting. Like which are the main institutions? European Commission and European Parliament and so on. So that was more or less, I was working on them as well, and I was sharing them with friends and students. Yeah, so thank you, Macedonia. Thank you, Sarah.
You got many information, probably, many new information that
Yeah,
were not
of
aware
course,
of before. And because we're not EU countries, even it's all interesting sometimes, and we are candidates, but we are aiming to enter the Union and the family. But many of our young people didn't know anything. What they know is bigger salaries, open market, like for working and moving around Europe. So that is the only thing what they're aiming at and what they think is European Union about. And yes, probably you got the feeling that people.
And then we have a joke. We say, when Albania is going to enter EU, probably there will be no EU any longer. Like there will be something else.
But did you start going? You said you go to some schools, to some friends to send the surveys. Did you make any workshops, maybe some presentations, some debates about the EU values and EU questions?
Well, actually, besides the questionnaires like the surveys, we took those surveys to Beyond Barriers, and probably we're about to organize some workshop later on. But this was mostly to raise awareness, or better say, to see where youngsters are, like what do they really know about the EU? Like you said, not just European Union, like freedom of movement and so on. Like we know the advantages, and yeah, there were in 2 universities, the university where I'm currently studying and another university of exactly Faculty of Social Sciences and the Faculty of Economics where I'm studying. And yes, well, in general, the youngsters do have a lot of knowledge, I might say, about the EU. And yeah, but they were more into, like I realized that they were asking, for instance, maybe they were not clear in the question, and they were asking, and I like this part, like they were interested into it. Yeah, that was more or less.
That's more or less. Practically about organizing afterwards the debates or some workshops. What is really important, as we mentioned in the management plan that the organization may have, we need some pictures of the events that you can organize, some pictures of those workshops. And we're going to need just 1 participant list, just 1 from all of that events, having minimum 25 people on the here in this event, so that's part of the program. They don't the European, let's say, Europe for Citizens program for 2019. They don't need any proof from each event organized, like participation list, many pictures, which which we need to provide, and afterwards we just send them a link where they can check the pictures, and they say have the participation list in case we need them, we need to show. That's why we ask only from one event that you can organize a participation list where you have the template to the management plan. Just for information, this is how it's looking like, because we need to have for the events organized. It's simple list that you sign name, surname, country, email, signature. So it's really simple. There are already 12 people signed. On coffee break, I'm gonna leave it here, and you just sign country by country. It's easier at least to track like how many people from Italy, how many from Germany, from home. So it's something very simple. What you need to take care of, just the list and the pictures. And of course, the important is the information that you can get, and you're going to present. You're going to give a lot of knowledge to the young people who are interested, as you said. The young people are interested to learn, because the young people are, of course, who want to get into the family, because they know what they can expect from being part of the group. Thank you, Olivia.
Thank you.
Yes.
We start first of all, I'm offline too, because I translate in Italian, I put online from the website of the Centro di Lavoro. So it's, we are collecting the problem with us is we spread them on the school, but when you write the survey, it's already the period that the school are ending, so it's difficult to involve. But around 1990 survey this moment, but we think that for us, and also at university level, it's difficult because there is a lot of stress for the way the exam, for the way it works in at least for us, at least for our organization. But what I think is useful for us is to continue to spread also from September, because we can manage to organize a properly activity. What we did was Centro Piatto organize every month a meeting with students. It's like 500 students in presence, and we announce the survey, but we have no time to do nothing more. But because I think it's really useful to think about Europe, European activity, but also think about our position as a citizen and the relevance of going to vote. I think it's interesting for us to move in September the spread activity from the survey. We continue to put online, we tweet, we Facebook, we did everything, but I think it's useful to do more keen activity with the youngsters to wait until September. You're right with that.
Yes, yes.
We stay online with the survey, we don't mind, but it's different things. So, okay, for you.
We know that many times
online it's already. Yeah.
Yes, many times it's not working. I mean, we've done different surveys, also online and offline, and many times offline is a better way. But then the hard thing is that somebody needs to put all the information on the data and then start to analyze them. With online, you're ready to have everything, even the online software can make you some statistics.
It's a Google support, so we send you the results.
Okay.
Easily, I think it's a big problem.
Yes, we can import through the.
Sure.
Us? Okay, good. We had an activity during the EU Youth Week where we brought a couple of youths to discuss about elections. And it went on quite well, I think. But what we did is that we have opened our own youth center where we just recently, we're using it as a hub to engage young people. So we are taking the project as the first part to sort of kickstart discussions with youth. So we're going to have more discussions, I think, which we can sort of cover more aspects that we think we can build information for future projects that link to this one. So we've done one, and for the survey, actually, it's really difficult.
Yes.
Malta is small, obviously. Our volunteers have tried to go to local college, and the response was student coming to fill it. And we thought it would work more than the online form, but it looks like we have to go back to the online form, because I told you the online form doesn't work. But it looks like they are not prepared to do it at all, and us chasing to see whether they feel it. So basically, we're trying to go for that strategy, where we have a database of emails, and we're going to fire the emails to them. Obviously, we have the agreement that we can email them in terms of email data loads. So we're going to fire the emails starting from next week, I think, for 200, 300 people. And then we can sort of, follow them up to see whether they will complete. Now, the results are coming to you directly. So we possibly have to ask for feedback on our part to say this week we have had 5 or 10, so we can continue pushing. So at the moment, I think more direct contact is not working as we expected it would work. So we're going to balance the two. If we can get few that are on the field, they will do it. But if we have people that fill it online, administratively it's easier for us, because then we don't have to capture and put anything or scan anything inside. It's done online and it comes directly to you. So on that point, possibly we sort of are trying to push everybody to do it online. And we're also giving the volunteers tablets and mobile to see if they can fill it. Ask the question, fill it for them, so that you can, So that's one option we're doing, using the mobile, using tablets, and telling somebody it's going to take 15 minutes. Can we, or can I buy a drink, and sit and talk over the phone, the computer, and so, and I'm going to use these beautiful ladies after we finish, so that possibly I can kindly ask them as payback for going to Palermo to get me 10. Yeah, but I
You have 30 people there.
we have to be creative actually to get the results. So that's what we're going to do. So I think basically that's that. In terms of the discussions, I think we are in a position where we're going to have more discussion. So we're going to have them on a monthly basis. So we'll give you what you want, I think. We'll be able to do that. And we'll give you pictures as well. We will live stream some of the events, so we'll give you links. So I think, like you said, the coming months are going to be intense, but so that we can actually profile the project.
Concerning also the data from the survey, if you, for example, Romania already wrote, you don't need to scan, you can just send that off. It's also easier we can just say one of our volunteers can all the data in case you have printed the survey. So that's also an easy part. If you don't have resources for more people who will do that, we can do that. No problem. Thank you.
One thing I was thinking. I tried to do I really did the survey. One thing that in my mind, if you go online, probably you are afraid to give a wrong question. So I think it's useful in both ways, because someone is going to answer if they don't know, they don't mind. But the useful thing is also they bring you to check, so to improve your knowledge. So I don't know what, because we are online, what are the results. It depends from the person. If they're ashamed, the fact they don't know, probably they are going to check before, but we have no time.
Yes.
But it's a good thing too, because the main object of the project is to share and to improve the knowledge of Europe. So apart from the results, I think that you do think it's bringing people to answer.
Yeah.
If they are going to check before, I don't think it's really wrong, because I'm not sure. There's not time, there's not anything. So I was thinking, okay, if someone wants to check before, they can. But I think it's not important. The results are important. That's not the important part is to bring youngs or to bring people to reflect about the activity of Europe, because I'm really, I can say what people do when open the, unless you block in the room without the mobile phone and you say like that. Yeah, so, but it's beautiful this time.
We had, we had the same experience also with students. So now we are trying also to involve the organization in public event where we can collect. But at the same time, using the online form, we were spending a lot of time in explain why we are collecting the informations, because all this paranoid aspect about the data aspect. So it's I don't know in which way to try also to draw the form that understand to make more easy that is for a no-profit project, and we are no-profit organization, because it was a bit complicated to explain. Okay, the organization, okay, international contest, but they usually ask me why you want to collect that information. So try to combine this. I don't know if in which way it's possible to change a bit, maybe with some graphic, some puppet.
I think if I'm going to follow up on the two observations, I took this out just to see what it is like. And I think I spoke to you to say it's too long. Just with the first part, which is like you select and pick and stuff. And then you have a bigger part where you have to put content. And it's so difficult for people to be patient to type in content. So that's the first issue I raised with you. And you said, look, we want it to be like that. But the people that I have followed after sending the online form told me to say, look, I was put off because part B is too long. Right? And obviously the issue of the unknown, so that people stay anonymous, we corrected it, which is good. So anybody who's completing it, they're not really giving their personal information. So it's good like that. But I still think that we need to simplify the bigger chunk where people type in information. Because as long as we have it and we're sending it online, people are not going through the whole form. Because if you do the simple tick in select portion, you can't send the form without filling the data, typing in the information. And some of the people we're talking with, are not good at typing stuff. Possibly the level of literacy is very low. So we actually losing people that can tick a mouthful type of question and answer, and they can quickly get rid of. So we're sort of targeting people who are intelligent, who have possibly a certain level of education, and we're leaving the other people that we need the views from. So I don't know whether there's a way of fine-tuning it so that it covers all people with that part of level of understanding with little. And the part I like about the question is, if you do it online, after you finish, it tells you your knowledge, right? So it will tell you, you've got 10% knowledge, which you can't get on the manual. So on the electronic one, that's, for me, it's a good part that after I did it, it told me, you 55%, wow, 55%. And then I had to check where I thought I knew and I didn't know. So I think it's back to you to see whether you can assist us to fine tune it and make the content one as the next.
And put the right answer if you want. It was perfect. You put I make a mistake if you can read. So it's useful also for the school, because you give to the the teacher, and we said, okay, it's like practicing on knowledge, European knowledge. So you receive immediately. Also, you can put also the right answer. Mistake, so you can check immediately where it's sorry.
So, it's great, and I think it's possible both things. For example, the part with the writing, the part B actually, we can do optional because there is in the online form you tick some boxes and then those fields, those parts you don't need to fill it if you don't know, and you can submit the form. So that if you want, you can do it like that. And for people, yes, for people who really don't know how to do it, yes, and then we can increase. And then the second one, there is also an option in the survey monkey that sends you a copy of your email of the form, and on the survey that you answered, it's going to be with the answer. So there is, we didn't want it to do that because then you receive email and maybe people don't want to receive email.
And you already upload the survey in Italia? Or?
Yes.
Ah,
I already sent
like,
link to Mark, I think, and also to
no, I translate it by myself, so I put in the website of Centro Curatore, so it's...
Yes, there is two links now, English and Italian. So, if you want to have additional language, again, it's still open. It's going to be very easy to make it.
What about the Japanese?
Japanese.
May I add something?
Yes.
So respecting what Alex said, for instance, like you say, how many like institutions are in the EU, and you mean like, okay, just tick a box. You have some alternatives there, and just tick a box. I think that people tend to neglect such questions. Like if you have 6 or I don't know some alternatives there, instead of like write them down as many as you know, 3 like European Commission, European Parliament, Council of Europe, whatever. I think that people have like tend to neglect it, they don't have that much time to pay attention to it, and they just tick a box, Well, instead of writing them down, maybe they don't know, they check for it and they learn it. And another thing, in Albania, like we printed all the surveys out, and it's way different when you touch a survey, like instead of fulfilling a Google form. And you had physically the survey, so you were like flipping the pages and you were really into it. Well, if I have a Google form, I wouldn't pay that much attention. It's like, but that's what I think.
My point is like, I'm coming from Malta where we're reaching when they crossed the sea from Libya, for example, which is not your case. So he is just coming to Malta. But we want him to possibly know information about the EU because he's starting life in the EU. So his knowledge of the EU is limited, but we want him to sort of upscale his knowledge to where he can know his rights in Malta because he's living in Malta. So basically, if I give him something that he needs to read and collect information, in the first part, he doesn't have the data online to communicate. And for me, possibly to reach him, I might need permission from the government to be able to talk to him, unless I talk to him on the street. So, but he has got a smartphone. So if it's simplified for that guy, I still capture his views of his move, because it's EU4ALL. He's moved from Africa, he's in Malta, and we want to try and make him know that you are still, you can be a citizen of the EU, although you're coming from another country. So basically, simplifying it possibly with the limited resources he has, he can participate in the summit. So I'm looking from our target group, not possibly universal to you.
Yeah.
For us, I think that would give us, it would include more people.
Well, this is good. Like we were doing a brainstorming, like giving suggestions, and then we picked like.
Also in Malta, I really don't like filling out paper surveys. So if people are on the street giving out paper surveys, they tend to avoid them. So if it's electronic and online, you get more replies.
Yeah, sure. But I don't know, it's just balancing. We're not really saying we should, But I agree with that. I hear your point.
we had different, for example, we had different experience in two different high schools.
Carmen, you wanna continue?
Yeah, I can continue. If you want, you can open the pictures so they can see the workshops or.
Yes.
For us, first we tried the online. Nobody was filling it out. We really tried to spread it out through the email database that we have, as you mentioned, through all the connections, all the people we send on projects. They're like, oh, I'm going to fill it out. And then the only two responses were like from within the organization, like me and Mende filled it out to check, and this is it. And we were trying to push it so much. Then we switched to the offering, and in one high school it worked perfectly. But then in the technical high school, where they are more with the gadgets, they didn't like to fill it out there. They wanted the online one. So we had to really change and adapt all the time. And we can't really say what works better generally. It really depends on the people. It was really, really interesting for us. We also really struggled a lot, but at the end we managed to spread it out through the volunteers that we engaged and print it out, and really just to go there. We were going on classes. Of course, we had the permit from the municipality. You have to get a permit in order for you to get into a school to do a survey, because it has to be controlled. They have to check it and so on. So we got this permit, and we were going school by school, class by class, really to interrupt in a way 5 minutes the lessons the teachers were allowing us. And this is how we got the responses. Only one school, the technical one, the IT high school, these are the ones that wanted the offline one. We even had how was it called? The scanner, QR code. Yeah, we were thinking it's going to be interesting. We printed out even the logo and everything. Yeah, it didn't work. But in the end, it did work out. I don't know if you're opening.
Yeah, I'm opening just the summary of every score. How many people do got the right answer? And for example, 9 of them, they got 0 to 10% the correct answer. 11 to 20, 30 to 40. Alec, you're here. 41 to 50. And then 61 to 70. And just 2 response, 91 to 100.
Sorry.
At this moment, on the English version, there's 74 responses. So, that's 74, just from the online.
I'm just thinking out here.
And Italian, there is just 9 responses, just on the page of April.
I can send mine, so.
Make them 10.
We have a.
They're
We
nine,
also
so make
still
them
don't have
10.
them all.
No, yeah.
And we have everything, right? We have all
All the answers, yes, online. So, but I put it on the offline, not
We have
the
everything.
I mean, the numbers in Italian version, so I translate by myself, I put on the website of the Centro della Torre, and the answer from that, so I. Okay.
If I'm thinking out here correctly,
Yes.
is it possible for us to stop the intercultural discussion, the discussions, debates and stuff for now, and do them later, and we push for the survey? Now we use the results of the survey to see which areas that we can use for the discussion. Like if people have less knowledge about the different parts of the EU, then possibly we can structure our discussion to sort of lift that knowledge level to possibly a good standard. So we could possibly give a local survey before the discussion on the aspects, and then after the discussion, we give them another simple electronic one to see whether we've moved them from there to here. So I think it would make sense for us to sort of move the discussion after we have possibly done half of our number of surveys. Then we can use that data to sort of then, I don't know whether that makes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in this period, in the time of the volunteer activity, it's good to be pushed the survey in the front side, and then the debate. dates afterwards. Because we would like to have the data about further knowledge, and then having then the debate workshops that it's giving them more information to the young people. So it's kind of going in a right flow. So first we ask about information and data, and then we do presentation and debates, and then they can learn more about it. And for sure, the knowledge will increase after the workshop and presentation. So I think it's a good idea to make it like this. So at the moment, this is from the online, as I'm seeing. Albania, they have offline. Italy, they have offline. We have around 100 offline, so they're not things. This is just the links that are shared among you and that you share among other people. So they're not all of the surveys. The Italian, as I said, 9, and then here is the Italian, and then the English 74. And then you can see even how much time do they spend on the survey. And I think there was around, in the Italian was, it was around 5 or 6 minutes.
The answer to all of the questions?
Yes. Average time. So average was
Really good.
Yeah.
I think so.
This is
If you tell somebody that
5
it's
minutes.
gonna take you 5 minutes, I think
Sure.
it's good. Like than 20 minutes.
That's a lot. Here it is. So yeah, 6 minutes, 6 minutes for the Italian. And here it is, completion rate. So on the English we have 76%.
Okay.
It's in here, and then on the Italian we have 56% of completion, which means these people.
No, there are more quick. What means?
Say
Say. Wow.
Both of them are-
No, they are not lazy, they are ignorant. It's not a thing. The answer less questions.
So this is here.
This is very important rate because only so Italians only 56% of the people they complete the form, which means they were around not 9, they were around 17 people who tried to fill out the form, but only 9 finished. Which means in Italy it's Alec idea that people take the boxes on the right one. And in the English it's 76%, which if they were around 100 and 110, 105 people in total, only 74 they complete 100%, which means we lost 24%. So it's a good idea that we're going to change that part, and we're going to make optional the big boxes.
And we also answer, so you.
Yes,
can
especially
have them.
yes.
And
Italian,
so how
we're losing a lot. But 6 minutes is
Pretty good.
They close the.
They
I didn't get it.
close it quickly. That's why they say that.
I know this, I know this, I don't know that.
Non si impegnano tanto.
Possibility short on them.
Okay, so
Just on your neck.
also you can see individual results. So we can see also individual results for people. So here is like, here is, we can see how many percent, what is true, what is false, how many did answer true, how many false. On each question, we can get like individual, like here is the 74, the 73, what time somebody was writing through which link, even we can check because we can manage the link by social media or by email. For example, if Alec wants to send an email, I can send you a different link that you're going to send in on email, and then you can track just that link, how many people come the email. So, this is for sure we can write like this is for the web link, because we have a social link and web link at the moment. And then we can see the score, 83%, 5 from 6 points, third rank from 73, how many correct, how many incorrect, how many he skipped total questions, and then we can see age, nationality, country, and what he was filling out each question. So I think it's pretty good information is giving out the survey mind in this website. That's why we wanted to use this one, but we're gonna have a big period of analyzing afterwards and preparing, making a report. But as time is passing fast, I would like to ask Kathy if she finished with presentation.
Yeah, I just wanted to share about the reports from the voluntary activities so far. We were really lucky that we got really motivated youngsters to join, and even they are 6, so we didn't want to limit them because 5 is the number, but of course always more is better. So we got 6 volunteers working. They are from 2 different high schools. So this is really good because we got bit of a spread. We don't have only one high school that they are doing the workshops, and even they went to a third one. So far we've had workshops in 3 different high schools, and even in one primary school, they really had a nice idea to do a creative workshop in this way to present the European Union and what it means to the youngsters, because to primary it's quite young, we need to understand all of the different pillars and the laws and everything. So they are really motivated. Yeah, these are some pictures. On average, they had 20 to 30 students present on every workshop, because this is the average number of students per class. And they did workshops on how the European Union was founded, the history, and what are the benefits if we are going to enter the European Union, what are going to be the benefits for them. They did even short quizzes before and after to kind of check the knowledge, what they had before, and after the presentation they did learn more. And they are giving us really positive feedback themselves, that they learned so much preparing the presentations. So they were really extremely happy to be part of this project. Even we did another survey. It was about active citizenship and what is the importance of volunteering. And this went also really well. It was really surprising, but again, when you go and interrupt the lesson and you have to fill it out, it works. It's a bit pushed, but it still works. So we've had a successful activity so far. They did a lot of workshops until now because the school year is finishing now. So maybe they will do something from the 1st of September. But now they will focus, I think, on the voluntary, on the surveys. Yes, during the summer.
Thank you, Kata. I didn't mention the website of the project. That we're gonna put all the information here and all your pictures that you can send us. Even we are putting the articles on our website, but also we put everything here. EU4ALL.info is the website for the project. So here you're gonna find more also information about the partners, about the activities, about the project, and contact details. So you can just scroll it and find more information, richer organization. And then when you go under activities, you're gonna see every activity, like from the kickoff, like the welcoming part, and then you can see the pictures and also the report that will be here. Yeah, this is from the kickoff, and here is also there is a link from the live preview that we have. So for each activity, you're gonna find more information on this website. It's short EU4ALL.info, and then you can enter and read more about what's the voluntary activity, what's the research activity. So if in case you forgot or in case you lost management, ask us about it. Not last, but of course we're going to go to Germany.
Yeah, before I summarize what we have done already, I would like to ask a question maybe in the last context. So to miss the kickoff meeting of a project is always disadvantageous, and we really regret that, but anyway, it was possible differently. What I wanted to ask is, do we have any ideas, or what did you write in the application about the sustainability of the project or the follow-up? So what are we actually doing with the results that we have had? Is there already any plan or?
Yes, with the results that we're going to have, we're going to prepare a report about the terminals, and that we're going to present to the European Commission. We're going to send to especially the Commission of organizing elections, and we're going to present what the people are thinking and why we made this project, and on what they think they can change in the future, and they can see the stand of each of the countries that are involved. For the follow-up, we still didn't think of how we can do it.
Because when I have read through the first results, to the answers of the, we are doing a lot in the field of adult education, informal and informal education. And I was thinking about yesterday, there should be a training course about all those basic EU figures and facts, but also maybe to develop kind of a motivation strategy, how to get people going to those coding courses. So this would be one of my first ideas. But anyway, we should discuss that maybe to really write in the report. We have also 2 or 3 follow-up projects.
Yeah, why
In our case, influenced by the project topic, we apply for a national action brief, to try to organize more dialogue structured meeting. So after I will send you also details and also
And also, I think if the results could be of the survey, we could have an interim report. Because then we are applying for Europe for Citizens, which is in September. It will get more points if we mention that the information we're using is from this project. So I think it will be good for us.
Sure.
Marco, you're applying, right? Marco, you're applying yeah. We are applying with Marco, we're applying, they're applying as an organization, we're applying as a different organization, but working in board. In Slovakia, is applying as well. So we have 3 sort of organizations that are sort of cross-pollinating in the process, but staying within the partnership so that we know each other, we sort of trust each other, we're building that trust. So that could be quite handy to use that as possibly more building on the results.
I was thinking about Erasmus Plus.
Yeah.
And the deadline would be at the end of March, so we would also have results.
That's it, yes, exactly.
So we shouldn't keep that in mind.
And for example, if it's key action too, if the partners that are here, there's a chemistry between us, why not just select from here, because we already know each other and the progression of the event of the project. So that might be.
Yeah, it would be easy to describe the need for
True.
recording project.
Can I ask a question, please? What other social media platforms do you have your survey on? Because on Instagram, for instance, they have all your analytical statistics. So people within Europe and of a certain age are targeted for sponsored advertisements. And if you were to go on Instagram and put the age that you want, they already target Europe, they target the age, they go beyond the advertisements, and they can easily fill out these surveys. So if you really want more younger people to answer your surveys, the best way to do it now is through Instagram, because they're already doing a lot of these things.
Yes, it's
Instagram is killing the world.
I would just like to add on what we were talking about, the research activity. Anyway, it should start as a process, as a new activity after this one. So as we agreed on the kickoff meeting, that it will be from the 1st of June until the 30th of September. So the deadline for submitting the reports is 30th of September officially. But I agree with Alec, it's a really good idea if we can manage to do it before. I mean, it's shortening the time, but it's a good idea at least for the people who are applying for Europe for Citizens, because we are also thinking to see how that will go. So it will be nice, because 1 month earlier it's not so much, but I just wanted to remind you of the dates that we agreed on the kickoff.
Do we have any structure, for the research?
We're gonna send you some kind of idea.
Because
it's in your paper.
I really found people, the person is going to work, but
yes,
it's possible structure.
We will. We have it.
Yeah,
we have it, and here also it goes the results from the surveys from each of the countries. It goes in here, and then also the statistics that you are going to present now from the voting turnout. It also goes there, and then of course you have to give additional information, which we are going to give.
Yeah. Also, so how many pages?
Yes, everything we're gonna send.
Yeah, as soon as you get, yes.
We have a
I can share with the
instructions, how, what, font size, everything. So we're gonna have that. As soon as we finish the study visit, we can send it.
Can I add something about the volunteer? Because officially they finish on August. Okay, the period. But because August it's a dead month at least for us. Can you move until September? Because it's it's not the problem of collecting signature, you can understand. It's problem to work with the volunteer. Can you move a little bit further? Because I think it's useless to use.
Yes, it's
a
no
lot.
problem
It's not,
to
no.
1 month. Just we need to inform the program.
Okay.
Yes, the headquarters.
The third September, October, so it's more easy also to continue to work with the school.
Yes.
We can use also October if you want, I don't know, but because July, at the end, after the 15th of July until August, it's like an period, then period with the school, I mean, at the
Yes, it's the same, it's the same.
it's probably it's different for Malta, let's work with the youth center, that's in Italy. Okay.
We're gonna send a request, official request.
Thank you.
And we can get the answer. Something else?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
I need to say what
So
we have
we
done.
do-
Okay, so we have our 5 volunteers, 3 of them are here. And we have started the survey also in the paper versions because we knew from the beginning that the online version would not work. I think concerning the figures, we are like halfway through, so there will be another half. In the second half, we will concentrate really on younger people because now we involve mainly adults of a higher age, but anyway, it's also 15 now. So in the second half, we will involve more younger people. Yeah, we have to insert the results in the online form, of course. Concerning the debates and activities, we have different ideas. One would be to involve our youth forces that you maybe remember.
Yes.
Because they are doing a lot of cultural activities, and since it is called Europe for All, they also do a lot with migrants, involving migrants or refugees. And they have naturally young guests, so we try to maybe organize some things, events in the youth hostel, so to naturally involve the guests there. Another idea is to include the activities in the Erasmus days in autumn, because they are strongly supported by our national agency of Erasmus Plus. So I think that we could organize some events in this frame. And also we would like to involve some schools integrating the activities in the history lessons or in the social science lessons or whatever the teachers recommend. So I think we will find. Still plan we did not yet.
Still we have time. The progress is good, that's soon halfway. It's very nice. If you need anything, just let me know. Or the manager.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Yes,
by the way.
it helps a lot. Okay, great. I think we're gonna do a small break. Small break means not 15 or 30 minutes. Small break is 5 to 6 minutes. And espresso is very short in Italy, so we're gonna do a short break. We have some snacks and some juices or something. So we can bring out at the bar, and then we continue in the second part that we're gonna have a limited time because of the pressure.
I don't know if you want
This one that is sparkling.
Come sono gli smalti partiti, gli smalti sono le lavori che
I can carry on. If it's for you,
yes, so you can
Yeah, the problem is that we have a problem with the machine that provides a content for us, so we need
Halt nur einen Zucker in deinem Espresso.
Well, you can do it again here. The coffee, so you don't waste. Ok. Questo fa cappello su vieni. Non la abbiamo due volte.
Un po' di questi. Sì. And we will have also at the lunch in 1 hour, I think. Yeah. 1 hour and breakfast. But also for the
That's so small.
Sit there for
2 hours with this small. So it's good to work in the bar, huh?
Bojan, Bojan.
No,
We can mix a bit. She's actually
Are the lunch places good? Or, sorry. Yeah, this is the best ones. This is
Is it pasta for lunch?
Yeah,
No, I see that.
oh, yeah, Josh.
The menu is saying.
What? Oh, yeah. How are you? I'm a Your name?
It's named like workshop for English.
Oh, great.
Yes, yes, more. More. Where is the people?
Where is it?
Where
is Did you work? Hungry.
Drink the beer.
Our lunch will be 1 hour.
It's better to get straight to this.
What kind of food? Rice? Oh, what's the black rice?
That gives them a bit more.
Perché così vediamo
Aiuto voi.
dov'è che mangiava?
Yeah, I think from the international line. It's just
Spiccarlo la mi confermi che pomeriggio vieni qua?
And then
because she asked also
Montenegro, we pay 15 euros at the border. The idea one, but cheaper.
Just was given a hold of it. Are they? It's a new job. Just chyba już to aktor tej Jany Burgada, szkolenie psychologa, sieci mos nervozone, nervozone dite ta sigur ham schon. Платите. Yes. Rupees, this is
Imagina um artista comandando banana, que é experimental.
Good. Prenez? Kişi stupidi de tamam değil. Se eu escolho me tudo. Hai già di fare?
Già c'è Cazzullo che gruppo. 5 stelle, o pan di stelle.
5 stelle no, business politica. Ma abbiamo un partito fascista al governo. E poi abbiamo i 5 Stelle, che non si capisce se sono carne o pesce.
Non bene.
No, è l'europeo.
Ma come mai che hanno votato comunisti fascisti?
Perché la gente è arrabbiata, non ha soldi, è normale. E quindi se la prendono con i deboli. Sì, è arrivato il razzismo, sono razzisti. Un po'.
Perché la gente è semplice, o no?
Sì, la gente è semplice, basta che tu gli dici è colpa loro, perché adesso non c'è più il lavoro che ti arrivano.
Si influenzano, si influenzano, quindi loro che vogliono guadagnare il pane giornaliero dicono ok, vado per te.
Lui dice prima gli italiani, prima i poveri, prima gli italiani.
Lui è molto populista perché sfrutta i deboli e queste cose, perché l'emigrazione tutto, gli dice arrivano quei barconi e la gente ha un po' di paura e poi vota.
Lui mette i deboli contro i deboli. Dico, l'Italia è sempre stato un paese d'accoglienza. Io mi ricordo negli anni 90, quando sono arrivate le prime
Ma sai che adesso vivono 25.000 italiani nella Ghana?
Lo so. Io ho delle amiche all'estero che sono
Della palazzina del terzo piano è una famiglia italiana. Lui adesso io ho aperto un business in lavanderia, il cibo è tutto molto male per l'Italia.
Che così facendo Salvini vincerà le prossime elezioni e sarà la prima forza politica.
Sarà pensi se ne sparazza
noi ce ne possiamo andare, io posso scappare.
Come on, guys.
Dicono che tu sei buono, io su queste cose perché difendi i diritti umani, sono adesso è finito questo momento, sono solo i nani. Prima faceva lo stesso discorso con i siciliani, prima lui diceva noi assolutamente.
Adesso li servono.
Adesso gli serve.
La stessa. Non ci credo. Sarebbe per lui la divide l'Italia da Roma in giù.
Però non gli conviene, per ora è bella unità.
Io non credo perché noi soffriamo da questo stato del
Okay, guys, let's get back to the circle. We have a limited time.
nazione nel pianeta che ama di più l'Italia. Noi abbiamo problemi con tutti i vicini. Ma anche in Grecia noi abbiamo
I hope we didn't lose anyone. Attenzione. Great, it's working again. We're gonna have 5 to 6 minutes from each country to do a small presentation, and we're gonna let my colleague Mende to start with the presentation.
And those without,
they can just talk. It's no problem.
Yes.
We don't need official presentation. But 5 to 6 minutes
around the election.
Yes, it's again around the elections. We already start talking about something, but we just continue, and then we can pack and go for lunch, or we can leave some stuff. And lunch is around 5 minutes walking from here, or 3 depends on Italian meals. So Mende, the floor is yours.
So I will present the elections, like low voting turnout elections in the past few years. So North Macedonia is like famous by elections because we organize elections every year. So almost every year. So I will start like voting patterns in North Macedonia. So we take elections from the past 5 years. Like this is research look at the years from 2014 to 2019 to study voting partners in North Macedonia. All data from the elections we collect on the website, which is official like State Election Commission, which is official North Macedonia election voting turnout webpage. Okay, on this next slide, you can see the scale. So we have like 1,800,000 voters which just registered, so they can vote. But on this second scale, you can see how the voting process goes on. We said in 2018, a big decline of voters, and on the next slide, I will explain more detail why is that. As you can see, so in 2014 we had high vote. We didn't have a low vote turnout. We had high voting around 64%. Why? Because the political organization, which was on power that time, they organized. Actually, they made a fake election. So in 2014, even that people were voting. Yeah, and they import like many people from Albania, from which is cities and municipalities like Trespa, Pogradec, and Korča. They bring the people which they gave them ID cards so they can write to vote, and they won. That's why it's the highest, as you can see, 64. But the opposition went on a press and they said, we are not accepting the defeat because the elections are fake. So they announced that all members of the assembly from the opposition, they reject the election, then they announced they will not participate in the assembly. So from 2014, we have big political crisis because only in the assembly participate only the political organization which was on power without opposition. Afterwards, they making a protest. Actually, the now currently prime minister in that time, which was in opposition, he said, please, to the current prime minister that time, he said, please retire from the position because we have some bombs which we'll announce on YouTube. The bombs, it was like a phone conversation between ministries, members of the assemblies, the prime minister, how they do a criminal, organized fake elections, money laundering, and so on. Yeah. In 2015, it was elections organized in municipality of Center in Skopje. It was election. It was a referendum. Like for one building, which is mall located in the city center, the oldest mall in Skopje. I think it's built at like 74, and they want to renovate in Baroque style. Because in Macedonia, we had a Baroque style. Some citizens who live in municipalities in center, they don't want to renovate, and some of them want to renovate, but fortunately the referendum wasn't successful. They didn't renovate the mall. In 2016, because in these 2 years, we heard a lot how the criminal make money laundering. So the citizens from Macedonia were very motivated because they want changes. So everyone went out to vote to lose this political party which was in power, to make changes because everybody was disappointed about for the criminal which they do. So in 2016 was the highest voting in past few years, as you can see on the scale. So in 2017 we have local elections, like for the municipality. So the voting turnout was like average, similar in 2016, maybe decline, but as we can see, it's similar. But in 2018 is the lowest. Why? Because we have a referendum of the name change. In 2016, the current prime minister was promising to the citizens they won't be a name change. So that's why people voting for him. But in 2018, there was a referendum, consultative referendum, not obligated, because the referendum wasn't successful, and they continue further with the process of name changing. So that was the biggest disappointment of the citizens who live in Macedonia in the name changing. And 2019, we have presidential elections. It's big high in our country. The presidential election is going in 2 rounds, because first round we need to have a census of 55% need to go. We need in all polling station, you need to have 55% vote. But on the first round it wasn't successful. We are going to the second round, and on the second round the census it's 45. So at least we have a 45% of the voters. So we have a president from the main political party which is on power. So now I can say in some way we have absolutely power, some kind of dictatorship, because the president and the central and the government are from the same political organization. Okay, we're going on the third slide. So the amount of people registered to vote has stayed stable, because every political organization has number of voters. So in every election, it's around 50%. Here is written like 40 to 60, but average in every elections we have only 50%. But the trend, how the years is passing, is in the dash line. So 2018 and 2019 had a sharp dash line, as I explained you before, because of the name changing, and the citizens from Macedonia were disappointed of the politician, and that is the main reason of voting turnout with 2018 reaching under 40. In 2019 was the lowest voter turnout for a presidential election since independence, from 1991 year when Macedonia became an independent country. So in 2019 was the lowest voter turnout. So that's all.
Thank you, Mendel.
Do we have any questions?
Yes, I do. So you said you have elections every year?
Yeah, every year, almost every second year, like early elections. Yeah.
So what are these elections for?
We have parliamentary elections. Yeah, mostly. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it's
Presidential,
presidential,
local
local, and
parliament.
parliament, and
But
because they are premature, usually we have every year some sort of election for these major
Okay,
topics.
and so it's not a presidential election every year?
No, every 5 years. But
Okay.
early elections, I don't know the English word, we have early elections, not regular, like every 4 years. You know, the rate of the government is very big, so they give early elections to win again, because they know that we'll win before the elections.
Usually the opposition is asking that when the people are not satisfied, then the opposition is asking elections before the 4th year finished, so they can be on power or they can change something in the system.
Okay, and also your statistics were based on registered voters.
Yes.
So is everyone a registered voter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Everyone who is 18 plus is a registered voter and
Okay.
can vote. That's his right. Questions?
I'd like to know your personal opinion about elections in general. So basically, because it's in the Balkans, it's more or less the same. You choose the least possible damage. So in this case, you chose this prime minister and elections as the best of the worst because you had no alternatives.
Why? Because the previous government was like, we heard a lot from the conversation how they want to hide murders, money laundering, how they steal money from the taxes. So that was the main point of the disappointment of the citizen. And that was the motivation to change the government because they were on a power like 12 years. So we were changed after 12 years. But the current prime minister, he was promising during the election campaign, like, we are not doing a name change because they were making a protest. The opposition were making a protest and they were making a campaign how they will make a name change and so on. And he was said, we are not making a name change during I'm breathe, during I'm alive, my children. He was, everything was like, and he did it. And
lying
that
like
was,
always.
he was lying a lot. That's why it's low voting turnout because the citizens feel failed from the prime minister.
Yeah, and basically we have a decline. As you saw, 2018 hit really like the bottom for all the elections. The voting turnout was, most of the elections were almost unsuccessful because of the low voting turnout, because people lost faith in both political parties.
Yeah.
Because you only hear lies, and you don't even want to vote anymore. And it's really sad because people are not using their right to vote and they just don't care anymore.
The previous government, for example, they were forced them to vote. There was one process they called Bulgarian train. So they give you a marked paper, so you need to put in the box the mark and take the empty one to give them back. So that's the process how they vote. We call Bulgarian train.
I also
But
have,
Bulgaria, I don't know.
the Bulgarians do so. We've also had some evidence of Macedonians living in Albania who were arranged in massive ways to go and vote for the ex-prime minister Gruevski, just because of influencing elections.
And we heard on the phone calls he was taking them from Poland,
Yes.
He was inventing fake address of living with the fake ID card, so they never.
Just for people who are not in Balkan, and Kosovo region are a region where they're living Macedonians in Albania, so they were bringing to Macedonia with buses and everything just to vote and go back.
Yeah,
we go next?
Yeah.
Next
This is so
country?
interesting.
Next country? Wanna talk?
You still don't have a presentation
We don't have a choice in this. Maybe they can offer some of their experiences, their place, or just give us a panorama
we have
what you do and
but it's not structured, so we'll talk. We're going to talk from here. In terms of the Maltese voting regulations, you have to be a Maltese citizen to vote in the national elections, or you should have naturalized as a migrant to be able to vote. And normally what you do is that when you apply for your ID, they register you to vote at that point. So they give you a form to vote. And if you're an EU national, they will give you two papers, one for the local and the one for the EU. Now, basically why they do that is you have an option, I have an option to either vote in the UK or vote in Malta. So if I opt to vote, to register in Malta, they will send the information to the UK so that I don't vote twice. So they transfer your vote from the UK to Malta, or from Germany to Malta, or wherever your country is. So then you can vote. But when you're in Malta, you vote for the local Maltese candidates. You don't vote for your country candidate. So I think basically there has been an increase in the number of registered voters over the years, and I'll try to give you some figures. But there is an effect of Brexit, which I'm sure the EU project was under threat. That what we noticed in Brexit was the younger generation really didn't turn out in masses to vote. The older people are the ones that voted and decided the fate of the younger people. So there's that apathy within I think across the EU amongst the younger voters to be actively involved in voting. In Malta, it's seen. I went to vote, and the queue was all old people. There was nobody who was in their teens and 25, 30. Nobody. Everybody was old, right? But I think if we look at the statistics, in Malta, Malta has got 6 seats in the EU Parliament. And over the years, there has been 2 parties that contest, which is the Labour and the Nationalists. And previously, they were capped. So they had 3 seats and 3 seats. And over the years, the Labour Party has got dominating. So in the current elections, the results were they gained the seats, so they have 4, and the other one has 2. Now, in terms of the numbers, I'm going to give you just brief numbers. We have seen an increase in the number of voters over the years. Like in the last elections, over 260,000 people voted. And we're looking at out of a population of about 480,000. And if we look at the years before, in terms of the statistics that I was using, we had less than 200,000 people that voted in the EU elections. I'm talking about the EU elections. Right? Now, I think the effect of Brexit sort of made the young people to realize that they need to determine their future. Now, if I look at I'm just going to cite the EU figures over the years. So, if you look at the EU figures, then I think my colleagues are going to give you some information. I'll be quick because she's looking at the time. So, in 2004, there was 45.47 in the EU people that voted, EU nationals. In 2009, 42.9. In 2014, 42.61. So 2019 was the first year where more than 50% voted. So because the issue of Brexit became sort of real, to say if we don't vote, then possibly some people are going to vote for us and possibly push their agendas. And basically what's happening in Malta, and I think in other countries, is that the right-wing parties are gaining momentum. And in the elections, the last elections, although there were two parties that won, the right-wing parties are gaining more people. So possibly next year's elections, if people don't vote, the right-wing parties are going to possibly go in, and when they go in, they're basically saying, let's kill the EU. So we have then to start engaging into dialogue to make sure that the youth are involved in the, and the right-wing parties like Malta, they're basically saying, oh, the migrants, go back where you came from. We don't want any migrants. Malta is for the Maltese, and jobs are for the Maltese, and so there is that. If we don't actively take part, possibly we'll see that growing across Europe. And I think you've seen in Germany, you actually under pressure in terms of saying we need to close our borders. Whereas the EU project is saying, let's secure our borders, but we can have people come and they are correctly documented. And just to give you statistics, there is 60 million migrant bona fide EU citizens in the EU, like me. I'm Zimbabwean, but I'm an EU national. And so you can't overlook that number of say 60 million voters that can actually vote. So I think from a general perspective, without giving you any detailed figures, the translation of the figures on the EU national statistics are reflected from the Maltese general election statistics, where we had an increase, but the increase possibly is more older people that are saying they need to vote, and also some young people that have started taking it.
And also, not everyone in Malta, not every Maltese citizen is a registered voter. So that's why I asked that question. So you could either choose to be registered or not. So it's not when you turn 18 you're registered. It's something you have to manually go and do. So that way, even if you have 80% of people that voted, it's only 80% of registered people that have voted, not 80% of the Maltese population. And also, another issue with that is in Malta there's a large number of migrants and refugees. So there is temporary status, the refugee status, and long-term residence. So now the new law in Malta is if you turn 16, you can vote. And for people who have been living in Malta for over 20 years and have been long-term residents but have not gotten the citizenship, can't vote. And that's still a large number of them. The refugees that do come in have their rights, but they're not given their rights because of local laws, so they can't vote. So there is a large number of people that aren't voting within the refugee, the migrant, and so on within that community. And then there's a large number of Maltese too that aren't registered to vote. The voting numbers are small, and the percentage of voting, even though it is let's say if they say it's 80%, that 80% is not accurate because it's only 80% of registered people. So,
in some countries, I think there is you are a registered voter, and it's mandatory to go and vote. Because in Australia or in Scandinavian countries, I think if you're not going to vote, then you're doing a job.
Actually, in the UK, if you're applying for a housing they will approve it by checking the voters law. So if you're on the voters law, you get points to get around or whatever they do. They check on it. So it's very important.
Questions?
Any more points from us?
I got a question. If you, the other time you could speak louder.
All right. Okay.
Question from my side. What if you're not registered voter? You don't vote?
No. You know what happened to me is that when I went to vote, because I can vote in the local authority elections, but I can't vote in the general elections. So I took it for granted that I was registered to vote in the EU. So what they do is that the police comes to your house with the voter's card. So you sign for it, you have your voter's card. When you go for voting, you don't take your passport, you take your voter's card because it is with your ID details on it. So I went to vote, then they told me, you're voting in the local authority election. I said, no, I'm voting in the EU election. It will be, you're not on the protest. So I only voted on the local, the mayors, the councillors. In the EU elections, I didn't vote because they told me I was not registered. I should have 2 cards, one for the local and one for the EU. So basically, I think in terms of, I think it's in all countries that if you're a migrant and you're not a naturalized citizen, you cannot vote. So you have to be naturalized to be able to vote. And I think that will continue in Malta. I don't see any solution of them saying if you're migrant with 10 years you can vote. I don't think so.
Thank you, Alec.
Is that better? Yeah. Not the ideal, but
maybe he's hungry, that's why.
You talk after pizza.
Next country. Yeah.
Really, I organize in a different way. I put the attention, we put the attention on the Sicilian data on different kind of election. It's a little bit different. Okay. These data are the administrative election turnout and the municipality, and it's the data from 2014, 2019. The data are quite different also because in different year we have different number of municipalities. So it's a little bit confusing here because, for example, in this moment with the European election, the same period, we have the election of some mayor in few municipalities, small one. Probably there was only Caltanissetta, the city of one province. It's the bigger one. The other was. So what you see here and here, they are not in the same kind of municipality. Okay, so for example, the 1901, if there are small municipality in Sicily, because it's here it's very confusing. The mayor end after 4 years, and so it depends when it starts. So it's not the same period for everyone. Okay, so.
Also because we have to be honest that many municipalities were closed because mafia.
Some of that.
So
not all, but could happen because we can in activity municipality can stop the activity for 2 different reasons. One, because political crisis, everyone. But for the Italian law, if there is something that goes wrong from the mafia point of view, they can stop the activity, so you can have again the election.
The mafia is powerful.
It's powerful everywhere. Don't talk about that on Malta because it's discussed a lot about that. Starting from the, I know.
It's corruption.
Very, very high.
It's corruption that we call mafia, but actually it's corruption. We can analyze it everywhere.
In Malta? No,
everywhere.
It's not corruption. No, okay, corruption is dependent. So one thing. Then we have corruption with mafia. I think we have both.
Even in Malta we have mafia.
You have also the honesty of the journalists. They take the journalists
out of the EU for some reason because of their high connection of mafia to the government.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's another big matter. No, so we have 2 reasons to go in the new election. One is different from the other country, and so these are the data. So in the United it's a very low amount also for that. Election. Italian one is like Macedonia. Everyone who is citizen of Italian Republic can vote. So it's, but not the resident. Like in Malta or in UK, the resident can vote, not the local level or national level or referendum can vote. So these immigrants, also the resident more than 10 years, they can vote until they have their citizenship. Yes. So the number of people who can be the voters, it's the potential voters are all the citizens that are more than 18 years old. I can give you any specific consideration in this kind of election because of what I said, there are different municipalities. So it probably meant to be analyzed more, to give, I think that it's better than the next one. Okay, referendum. This is data from the national referendum. In 2016, we had 2 different referendums, and was the first one, it's interesting, was about environment matters. It specifically was the extension of the place where you can take the oil in the sea. The people who were really the data. We didn't see the exact data here, but the data is there. I think it's 20%. The people. No, because it was a very specific.
Was under the quorum.
How much is the
Was under the quorum.
Italy census for to be successful in the elections or
Referendum, the referendum, I think it's 50% of the, yeah. And the other ones in the same year was more. It's the data is 56%. It's about the constitutional. Was the constitutional? Was the question posed was about the possibility to change the Senate. That's one of the chamber of the Italian chamber. And then more attention from people, but 50%, 56% is not too much. No.
But they passed the quorum.
Passed the quorum for, but the answer was no at the end.
It was very big participation because the last president was promoting this referendum. At least in front of television. If I not win, I lose my
position. The government president was Renzi at the time.
Yeah. So too many say, okay, let's go and vote for no to the team.
And he said it too. There was because of that the answer was a little mixed because was not so only the answer about the question, the official question, but also to the person. So it was very confusing.
But if I can say something about the referendum. Referendum in Italy is very important because it's the only instrument that people ask to make some changement, especially in the constitutional level. And for the first referendum, the one for EUR4ALL, I don't know,
it's extraction concession.
The problem was, and it's always like that when we have a referendum, that the government or who is intended for write the question in a very, very difficult way. And it's always like you have to answer not to say yes. And the people doesn't understand in the end. Also for me, it was very, very hard. They say, okay, let's concentrate yourself. Yes, not, but for what?
Yeah.
And it's always in this way. And people don't go.
Same in Macedonia, the referendum for name changing. It wasn't written like, do you want to change the name from Macedonia to North? Do you want to integrate in NATO in EU for agreement of the PRESPA? That's kind of so.
And another thing is referendum about referendum. I don't know in other countries. It's something that can help from the politician, but also for the people. As a normal citizen, we can collect the signature and ask for a referendum, so to change the law. It's possible. I think the only legislation you can change is the taxes. You can have a modification of the law, the change of the law for referendum. I think that's the only area you can. Again, another European election. And these are the data of this year and last year. Okay, data. Okay, For the 2012, I have only the turnout. It was quite the same, 47%. You see in different way because of the scale, but it's 1% less. No, sorry. No, sorry. Okay. In 2014, the turnout was 42%, 43%, and this year was 37%. Yeah. And this is something that you can note also in other elections. There is a big decrease. It's not like in Macedonia, something related to a feeling, but it's something that happened quite. It's like a trend. And Europe, it's very far for people, very far. I think that this time was a little more because the Italian situation, about the position of Salvini and other groups, and the people who want to block his approach.
We have the same phenomenon of in England, where the Brexit party were collecting a lot of votes. It's the same here in Italy. There are two big political parties that are at the moment at government level, but they are against European, the Union inside Europe. They were collecting votes in this propaganda against Europe, especially Salvini, that they have a very strong connection with the other sovereignist leaders. These are facts, it's just to know. Just
and yes, this is another.
And he's proud to be.
Yeah, I don't know what's proud to be, but. Okay, Sicilian regional election. Again, it's in 2012. We have in 2012 we have 47%, and 2017 46%. Okay, it depends from the level of the attention. The more is close the government, the local activity are to vote, the more people are engaged. So that's what we can read between the different slides. The more is far the activity, the more people don't care. About what we said before, the involved people, the active citizen is very far from the vote. So the reason why we vote, I think it's a trend in a lot of countries. I don't know in France or Germany, but I think it's the trend in a lot of countries, the people not to vote anymore. No, you are not. It's good in this election for European, but for national, I don't know. We'll see. You should do it right. And
in France also I like the European election and was like the best average. Like people went to vote. Like unfortunately it was like the right part. It's really like because they get a lot of votes also like propaganda against like what is going on.
Great, thank you. Yes, yes,
sure. You were talking about your Sicilian election. So
regional one.
Yes, your regional one. And how does that sort of play with the main Italian election? So you know how because you have your Sicilian elections here, can you vote here and can you vote for the main elections happening in like the other part of Italy, like not Sicily?
Okay, no, we as always at the local level, everyone votes for the covered area.
Okay, so you have local, and then you can vote.
We have really in this moment we have 2, 3 and a half level because we have a municipality, we have region, and we have state election, and we have half because they are on the side like province. Okay. It's a fourth level that it's been I cannot say, it is being eliminated, it seems, but it's not, we are not sure. So in this moment, we have 4 different kind of provinces like department. So we have 4 different kind of vote.
But the system is always considered at the local level.
Yes.
I mean, so there are national leaders that candidate themselves in each local level. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I be ignorant to get information? So Sicily is classified as a state.
It's a region. It's special region.
It's a region.
It's a region with special
With a special status.
So basically, you have an administration.
Yes.
Which is part of the national state administration.
No.
Inside the national parliament, there's a group with all the region. Okay. We have just some special power inside our statute that, for example, can move the limit of the budget of salaries of politics inside the assembly, or something about the environment. So, because all the other regions, they have more limits from the national government.
So do you have economic independence?
No, we are.
No, it's almost the same to be a normal region, so that we have another status, but we don't use it in the end. So the regulation is different, but we used to have the same administrative part of the other regions in Italy.
Because I think if you go the other part.
If we had money, we can. If we had the production in city, for example, we can. It's like a federalism part, but because we don't have any production, we can use because we have a more federalist organization, theoretically speaking.
Yeah,
exactly. Okay.
But in the end, if you don't have the money for covering all the decisions, you cannot do it. So
and also tomorrow we are going to the parliament. In another region, it's named council. It's not parliament. This is a parliament. So the level of the decision is the same of the national one, but we have one person that in Italian is commissario. It's commissario dello Stato. It's a person who checks that what we decide at the parliament is okay with the national law. Okay. At the national, for the other not special region, it's different. They have to be more. If at the national level decide what to do, they have to do in that way. We can modify something. And there are more than one in Italy. It's Sicily, it's Valle d'Aosta, and then we have 2 special provinces. It's Bolzano and Trento. So there are 4 cases in Italy, 5? Sardinia, sorry. There are 5 cases in, for historical reasons that the regulation is different.
Yeah.
And then
the reason in which there are another language apart Italian and stuff.
And Val d'Aosta, because Val d'Aosta is north, northwest, and Bolzano, Trento is east near Germany, and in that part of the city is Italy, we speak also German.
And what do you think is a trend for like voting to go down? Because you mentioned it's a trend.
Because no one believes. It's like the thing that Macedonia said, but it's more something. It's not emotional. It's something at the region, a more profound level. The people don't believe in politics. Every day more.
It's time to continue because we have 2 more countries. Who wants to go next? Just real 5 minutes. We have 2 more.
I call the rest I'm not prepared for that, but I can do it. Okay, here or there.
Yeah, it's fine, wherever you want.
We come from beyond barriers, from Albania. I wanted to give a general panorama of political situations and stuff. I got stimulated by the discussion of referendum that we got from my colleague. Our government is a bit of kind of really smart, because when it comes to referendum, people start getting more and more acknowledge on how it works and where there is a justified case or not. For example, we had a possibility of taking chemical weapons in Albania, and it was such a huge, a big deal. We had protests, and people started going to referendum to take many signs from people. And when the government understood that it was really a bad idea and people didn't want that, they just said no. It was never an option. So they had in first place they had the option of taking chemical weapons with the support of the US and the EU. They had this possibility of taking chemical weapons and storing it near the seaside of Albania, because they will take a lot of money, funds, and infrastructure, building roads without spending a penny. But judging by the revolt of people and anger of people, they said after like 2 months of protest, the prime minister said, no, taking chemical weapons was not an option, so don't need for referendum. Because if we did the referendum like you did, it will be like, let's say, massively 90% of refusing to take chemical weapons. When
you don't have the referendum?
No, we didn't have it all. That's why I'm telling that, because the government is a bit of smart. By knowing, by preventing the defeat in this referendum, they said, no, we don't do it. It was never an option. So they take credit for that instead of the citizen. If there's a lower turnout in the voting, I think it helps the local government, local establishment, which is running the country. Because if you don't have a real alternative, people just refuse to vote, like it's happening here in Sicily on many other occasions. People just get tired or immigrate. For example, in Albania, there are two plans. There is plan A and plan B. Plan A is to go abroad, and plan B is to stay in the capital city, because you have better wages, you have better education, more possibilities. You can change your place of work, you're well paid, so money is in your pocket. If it doesn't work, plan A, to go abroad to work, to find a better alternative, you just stick with the plan B. And from a remote village or city, you just tend to go in the capital city. The government is trying to change that, but by dictating, it means of force. In the latest elections, they had we are a Republican constitution that consists of parliament. So we are governed by the parliament with 140 seats, and in the latest elections, the Socialist Party, which is running our country, got 74 seats. So basically, it was a massive support from the people. So they didn't need another party of ruling with. They ruled with, let's say, with an iron fist, because they had the votes. Now we are like 3 weeks from the local elections, and the opposition is nowhere to be said, because they say that the government is so powerful that they will trigger criminals, and they will rig elections, and will use its money again from this kind of years of power. So they will manipulate the result, and they keep pushing it for pushing the elections, or just asking the prime minister to step down. They took like, if I'm not wrong, they took like 764,000 votes in support. Well, almost half of the voters who turned out to the ballots. So I guess he says that I have almost 1 million people supporting me. Why should I step down? He said, come to the local elections. If you win one municipality more than my party, I'm going to step down. But just, you cannot go without finishing the championship. You just abandon on the field. So basically, these are the situations, which is not good for the country. And I think it's also done because we are nearing a symbolical date of opening the EU negotiations for entering the EU. Albania and Macedonia, I think they have done a lot of homework for gaining this status, but from political wars in Netherlands or France, they just don't stick to their promises. Okay?
May I add something else? So shortly, since you said they were good on plans, like if they don't, if the plan A doesn't work good, actually in Albania we have 36 letters of alphabet. So thank God if plan A doesn't work, we have many letters on the way. And well, actually Albania is going through many protests, and the two parties is like Democratic Party and Socialist One. And the Democratic Party actually burned down all the mandates, but this goes contrary to the EU rules, because if it's going to be only one party, then that means that country is one country. There is no pluralism, and this goes contrary to every how to say, yeah, rules or principles. And I like the way because people got awareness and they stand up for their rights. Lately has been a protest from students. I was part of those protests every day, but really social protests. I mean, no violence or I don't know, really social. And yeah, now let's hope. Actually, those who live in the country, they think more to invest in education infrastructure instead of filling their bank accounts. Would be way better. That's us.
And we go to the last one.
Okay, so I forgot a little bit to include the comparison between the elections this year with the elections before, but I added it. So, I would like to start with some general information about the election process in Germany. So it was the 9th direct election for the European Parliament this year. 96 members of the parliament were elected to represent Germany in the parliament. And according to the Treaty of Lisbon, this is the maximum number of parliament members we could send as a country. And as in several other countries, we had also some regional or local elections going on in parallel. According to the Federal Authority of Statistics, there was 64.8 million eligible voters. That means, like you said, registered voters who were able to vote in Germany on the 26th of May. And out of them were 60.8 million German citizens and almost 4 million other EU citizens. So, but they were allowed to vote anyway. So quite a high number. 59 political parties and initiatives had submitted their lists in time, so there is a deadline for submitting or expressing the interest of being one party who could be elected. And there's a federal election committee who decided on 15th of March which of those initiatives or parties would be on the list. And finally, 40 of those parties and initiatives made it to the list of elections. So we like especially so. Because I made the written elections because I was not at the phone. So it was quite a big sheet of paper. And yes, these were the results. So you can see in the colors which were the bodies. And now I give you the comparing figures from the last. So the first one, the black one, is the conservative party. They lost also a lot of votes. Then continue with the Social Democrats with 15.8. They lost, of course, a lot, so they were the biggest losers of this election. The first phenomenon in this election was the Greens, because they got 20%. And the second one is the blue one, the Alternative for Germany, which is the right-wing populist party, and they got 11%. The left one 5.5, so that's not a big difference to the 10 years before. Those two phenomena, the Greens and the rights, are also linked with the mood in our country. So two situations, we have big political tension at the moment, which started in 2015 when the high number of refugees came. Of course, with this situation, also the populists got more and more important, were more and more successful, let's put it like this. And this is the first side. On the other hand, we have a big initiative in this climate change field, or anti-climate change demonstrations and so on. So all the young voters actually went to the elections and voted for the Green Party. And curiously, the elderly people voted for the right-wing party. So this is like strange for me, because they should actually know where this could lead to. But anyway, yeah, this is the phenomenon. And the second phenomenon is that you know that Germany is like divided in the eastern part, which was the former socialist countries, and the western part. And in the western part, where the highest number of refugees are settled, the right-wing party was not that successful. And in our countries, where we don't have so many refugees, the right wings were most successful. So this is something strange that you actually cannot explain really. And here, this is the wins and losses. So the Greens gained the most, and the Social Democrats lost the most. This is the voters' participation, so the voters' turnout. I have the figures here. We had 61.4% of turnout, so it's very high compared with the last years. In 2014, it was 48.1, so 13%.
So it could be, is it that because the right wing is also gaining momentum, you think?
The raising of the, yes, I think so. So we have the young people who work for the Greens, that who said, you please go and use your right to vote. And the other part are the protest voters who would not, or who are not necessarily right or fascists or national socialists, but who make like a protest election. Okay, and finally, I didn't want to put that, but then I put it black, maybe you cannot see it. This is the results of our federal country, of Saxony. So they are the right-wing party, the best result. We will see where it leads to. Okay.
Thank you very much. I think we don't have time for questions. We are late, like 30 minutes as the time you were late in the morning. Very much, okay. We're gonna finish it here for this session, and we're gonna go to lunch.
Yeah.
And later we can on lunch we're gonna talk about what time and where it's coming, the volunteer.
And they arrived to when I was 3, there are 2, there are Vlad, Riccardo, and probably Riccardo.
Okay, great. So thank you everyone. Please take all your stuff from here. We follow the people. We follow someone.
Yes.
You can
Follow Melania. I'll cross
and
and
how we few minutes just to hang in here. So just follow.
So you can follow me.
follow Melania.
Follow me.
I will wait outside.
Should we leave something like tomorrow? Because
Yeah.
like the flag, the
Yeah.